Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel 100% Pure Elvis. Thank you all for taking the time out to return to my channel, and if you are new to the channel, welcome on board and thank you for joining. Following on from my recent upload on the full album, I'm going to continue talking about Elvis albums from the 1970s that either performed well or didn't perform well. The second album that I want to talk to you all about today is, again, an album that was released in 1973, and it was one of the only Elvis albums that did not enter the UK top 40 charts. And the album in question is Elvis Raised on Rock, also known as For Old Time's Sake. And for me, I actually do not have the reasons behind why this album did not enter the UK charts. Again, I feel it's quite a strong album. I think it's got some beautiful tracks on it. Again, the only thing I can think of again is that there's just no big hits off this album. The tracks that reached the charts was Raised on Rock and For Old Time's Sake. So again, I do feel not having big hits in 73 to coincide with this album release, I think that is part of the reason why the album did not enter the UK top 40 album charts. Again, going back to the album itself, the image on the front there is Elvis in concert from the previous year of 1972. Again, I'm not sure where the concert was at or the date of the concert. So if anyone knows, can they please share in the comments below. The copy that I'm sharing with you all here is the Friday Music release, which is an American import. So if we get closer in there, you can see it's the Friday Music via Sony Music and RCA. And this one's gatefold, but just one vinyl inside. So in the middle, it is promoting the single Raised on Rock. And again, in my personal opinion, I just think it's a great album from the 1970s. Again, it's not my go-to from the 1970s, but it's an enjoyable album in my personal opinion. And when I did the upload yesterday of the full album, I was really interested in seeing people's replies and opinions on that album. Some people had differences of opinions on the album. Some people loved the full album. Some people thought it was a weaker album. So I really like listening to people's personal opinions. And so let's talk through the track listing on Raised on Rock. So side A, we have Raised on Rock, Are You Sincere? Find Out What's Happening. I Miss You, Girl of Mine. Side B, For Old Time's Sake, If You Don't Come Back, Just a Little Bit, Sweet Angeline, and finally 3 Corn Patches. I absolutely adore I Miss You, If You Don't Come Back, and I really enjoy Girl of Mine. I'm not overly keen on 3 Corn Patches, and I'm not overly keen on possibly For Old Time's Sake. It's not to say I don't like the songs, but again, I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to them a great deal. But yeah, so again, I personally feel the album itself, I think it should have reached the UK top 40 charts, because again, an Elvis album not reaching the UK top 40 charts, it was unheard of. And 1973 was a very big year for Elvis with Aloha from Hawaii, but the 2 albums that followed, so we had the full album and then we have Raised on Rock, they just did not perform that well in the UK charts. And again, is the reasons behind that because of the Aloha album was performing so well around the world. Again, I actually can't remember the last time I listened to this album, possibly when I bought this copy of Raised on Rock. So when I do come off this review, I'm going to have a sit down and have another listen. But again, I saw some comments on my post yesterday where they were saying every Elvis album is a great album. Every Elvis song is a great song. Fantastic, personally, I'm someone, with my Elvis channel, I'm always positive about Elvis, and I'm always positive about his albums and about the song choices. But again, I do think there's some weak albums throughout his career. There's some stronger albums, and again, a lot of the studio albums from the 1970s gets a raw deal. So yesterday, I also did an upload of my favourite album from the 1970s, That's the Way It Is, which is also my all-time favourite Elvis album. So please go back and check that upload if you can, be helpful to my channel. And also, I think for me, having these sorts of discussions, I really love seeing my subscribers' opinions on how I come across with my opinions on these releases. And I think with Raised on Rock, out of the studio albums from the 70s, where would I place it? It would be possibly nearer the bottom end. But I enjoy the album. It's an album that when I do put it on, I do enjoy it. But it's just not one of my favourites from the 1970s. But again, I do feel this album should have charted in the UK charts. And again, what do you think the reasonings are behind that as to why this did not perform that well for Elvis in the US of A and the United Kingdom? I will look forward to seeing your comments below. And as always, what I'm going to be doing going forward with my channel is I'm going to be reviewing songs as well as albums and talking about what my thoughts are on each song or each album release. And when I come off this upload, I'm just going to do another quick review of an album from the 1970s, which is another favourite of mine from the 1970s, and I'll give you reasons behind that. So again, thank you for returning to my channel to watch my review of Elvis Raised on Rock, a 1973 release via RCA, an album that did not perform that well for Elvis in the UK or the US of A. And again, any questions about this vinyl in front of me in particular, this is on the Friday Music label, please ask in the comments below. But again, you are looking upwards of around £50 to add this to your collection. So again, thank you all for returning to my channel to watch this upload of Raised on Rock. And as I always say, please keep Elvis close to your hearts. Please keep on playing his music, and love to you all. And I will speak soon, everybody. Bye-bye.